And the first gentleman I'm going to bring up is a fabulous comic, a good friend of mine, a man who's been on the cable comedy show many times before. And I am thrilled to have him here to talk to you people right now. Please, a nice round of applause for Mr. Brian Kiley.
Oh, Kiley. Thanks a lot. Wow. Mike McDonald cable show, huh? Ooh. This is like having hair. Delighted, I really am. So it's this guy's birthday and this guy's, that's great. Today's my father's birthday. Thank you. Thanks very much. We had a big surprise for him. We didn't acknowledge it in any way. And just seen the look in his face. It was great. Last year for his birthday, I picked him up some shoes at this Japanese restaurant. I had to wait like 45 minutes for the guy to go to the bathroom, but I think it was worth it. I'm in a very good mood, though. I'm kind of psyched. My girlfriend just dumped me. She sent me this long letter explaining why we weren't right for each other, why we couldn't go out anymore. It didn't bum me out at all. Until I got to the end, and I realized it was a chain letter. Kind of bummed me out. I don't know. Women can be kind of superficial, though. Well, as much as men, as I should say, actually. I had a woman blow me off one time because she found out I was bald. Because, when we met, I was wearing a hat, and it wasn't until later. And I mean, it doesn't bother me now. It did at the time because we went out for like 2 years. And, well, you're gonna get a windy day eventually, you know. It's just a matter of time, I guess. But I meet women in weird places. Yesterday, I picked up a woman at Marshall's. I was psyched, and when I got home, I realized that one arm was much longer than the other. So embarrassed to bring her back, you know. She didn't have a slip. She explained to me she was irregular. So I gave her a couple of bran muffins. It's like a slow wave, isn't it? I'm not one of these guys that brags about sexual exploits, though. I hate that. My neighbor does this to me every day. He gives me these detailed stories about him and his wife from the night before. Like I wasn't watching. Well, he watches me and I watch him. We have that kind of relationship. We're still free to see other people. Yeah, I come from an Irish family, and when you're Irish, you have to go to a lot of family reunions every week. They called AA meetings. I don't know whether you knew that. And I have a lot of friends who are Irish, and I come from an Irish family. I think one thing that Irish families have in common is that we all have a black sheep. And what we do with them is our business. Just kidding. Very proud of my Irish heritage. We've done a lot for politics and medicine and law enforcement. And I think it was an Irish guy that came up with the one potato, two potato thing. It's a big part of my childhood, I don't mind telling you. But anyway, well, the drinking's a thing you got to be careful about when you're Irish. So last week I read this article on alcoholism. So it leads to depression and other mental disorders. It scared the shit out of me. It mentioned me by name about 6 times. Every time I go with my best friend, he starts doing shots. Those diabetics. Right now, my best friend, he's in one of those drug and alcohol rehabilitation centers. He's paying thousands of dollars to learn how not to drink and take drugs, which is kind of the opposite of going to college, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, college is okay. I have to admit, my parents had to help me out with tuition and books, but I bought all my own papers and tests. I had to work 2 jobs every summer. Didn't do well in school. The only class I did well in was psychology. My term paper on dreams was actually published. Do you read Penthouse? Just me, okay. You can learn such important stuff in college, don't you? Like if one pizza place starts delivering, they all do. That's the domino theory. Canada. What a crowd. Yeah, I had fun in college. I lied my way onto the club football team because, you know, I don't really have a club foot. Okay. Yeah. I think the worst part about college, though, is you go to take an oral exam and it turns out to be rectal. I hated that. I hated that. High school's okay. High school's when I started drinking, because I'm an American. Only part of my high school. Actually, I have to admit, I like to look through my high school yearbook every now and then just to see my name and captain of the football team next to it. Which really wasn't true, but I was the editor of the yearbook. So, typos were pretty much my responsibility, As a dumb kid growing up, I hung out with dumb kids. My best friend got kept back so many times, now he has tenure and they can't get rid of him. My kindergarten teacher hated me. My kindergarten teacher, she used to find any excuse to pick on me, especially during nap time. Like I'm the only guy in the world who sleeps naked. Come on, get off my back. I'm the baby in my family. I'm not the youngest. But I'm one who's bald and sleeps all day, so I'm more qualified than anyone else. I was a bedwetter when I was little. Of course, I sleepwalked too, so I could wet 3 or 4 beds in the course of an evening. Didn't have too many friends in summer camp. But okay, one kid liked it, but I didn't want to hang out with him anyway. Can't please everybody. Did your parents make you go to church when you were little? Yeah. My parents gave me up every Sunday morning, made me go to Mass. I guess they wanted to be alone. We used to go to this church in Boston, St. Mary's Immaculate. Well, it's St. Mary's now since the janitor retired. Okay. Yeah. That's why I'm the warm-up act tonight. Doesn't know that. Yeah. When you go to church, do you put money in the collection plate or the box there or whatever? No? Do you? No, I don't need it. I write out a check. I just put to God. And I don't sign it because he knows who I am. You ever fall asleep in church? Yeah, I think everyone does. I think that's why they have the kid ring those bells. I was one of those kids. I was an altar boy for about 4 years, and I got fired because I kept falling asleep. The priest used to yell at me in the middle of Mass, in the middle of a sermon, in front of everybody. Like I'm the only guy in the world who sleeps naked. Come on, get off my back. Yeah. I had a lot of nightmares as a kid. Actually, I had a nightmare the other night, which is so weird because I hadn't had one in so long. I didn't know what to do, So I went and got into bed with my parents. My father was in World War II. He still gets a lot of nightmares about that, which is really a drag. Because then he has to go to my grandparents' house and get into bed with them. And they sleep naked. Not a pretty sight. As a matter of fact, those are my nightmares about. Yeah, a lot of scary things happened to me as a kid. On my 7th birthday, my mother dropped my birthday cake and the kitchen caught on fire. And she'd put those trick candles in the cake. So I had it in my head to keep coming back to put the fires out. My parents didn't like to spend money on us when we were little. They used to take us to a discount amusement park. The roller coaster only went up. You had to walk back down. They had one bumper car. Even the cotton candy was mostly polyester. Did you terrorize babysitters when you were little? We used to terrorize all our babysitters, except my great-grandfather, because he used to read to us from his will. We were nice to him. My great-grandfather was one of the few relatives I actually liked. He was very much ahead of his times. He was a VCR repairman. So he couldn't find work until long after we retired. Do you have VCRs? Yeah. Do you? I got one last year, and I thought it was going to be the greatest thing in the world, because I work at night, and I miss a lot of sporting events. But people have to tell you who won and ruin the game on you. Does that happen to you? Oh, I hate that. I can usually get away with taping the Bruins and not finding out. But you try to tape a Celtics playoff game and not find out, you could be in a meditation tank and someone would open up and go, Celtics won. You're taping the game. Don't do that to me. I hate that. My family got mad at me last week because I taped the Bruins game. Not because I taped the Bruins game, but I'd run out of videotapes and I had to tape over my sister's wedding. Well, she'll probably get divorced anyway. My mother from time to time puts on her wedding dress. Not for sentimental reasons, she just does it when she's really far behind in her laundry. She's walking around the mall with people looking at her like, what is that? Come on, Ma. A couple weeks ago, I went to another family wedding, which was videotaped. And this actually came in handy because my date thought she caught the bouquet. The replay clearly showed that it bounced. No doubt about it. It was my cousin that got married. He had to. His girlfriend won the lottery. I love to win the lottery. But they change the numbers every week. Pisses me off. A lot of trouble. When I went to the bank last week, I opened up a now and then account. My bank claims to be cooperative, but I've seen no evidence of that whatsoever. They actually yelled at me last week for writing a bad check, and I tried to deny it and say I didn't do it, but I wrote the check while I was at the bank. They've got video cameras. So. The replay clearly showed that it bounced. Exactly the most efficient bank in the world either. When I was in there today, they still have the table set up with the eggnog and the Christmas cookies, and the eggnog tasted like shit. Well, maybe it was me. Maybe that second cup just went down the wrong way. That's what I said.